Okay. Okay, so I'm calling the meeting to order. I have 4:32.
And roll
Okay,
call, Adams?
roll call.
Adams? Here. Barlow? Here. Crosby? Here. Fairchild? Here. LePage?
Here.
Mandeville, she requested to be excused. Montevego? Here. Roland?
Here.
Thompson?
Here.
Valancourt?
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Hopefully that you guys don't leave me again. I do apologize though that I had to stay home because my daughter needed me at 6:30. So I said, there's no way I could get back. So, and we're leaving tomorrow for my grandson's graduation in Ohio. So it's been a crazy day. So I said, there's no way I can fit that in. So here I am. Okay, can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda, which is approval of absences, approval of the May 18th, 2026 agenda, approval of minutes of the April 27th, 2026 meeting, committees for which there are no reports at this time, advocacy, can't say it, executive, health plan, negotiating, personnel, and property. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion on the minutes? Did anybody catch anything? Okay, if not, can I have a motion to accept, I'll approve,
Aye.
disapprove? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Do we have any public?
No.
Okay. Communications, Brenda.
No communications for this meeting.
Okay. President's remarks. I've been all day looking through my notes because I know at our finance committee meeting the other night, I wrote something down that I think I said I'll bring that up in my president's remarks, and now I've looked through all my notes and apparently didn't write it down. So hopefully it wasn't anything too important. I do want to tell everyone that we did have a very, very productive and informative financial committee meeting on that was on May 13th. It really was nice to understand things a little better, and I think we're moving in the right direction with a lot of things. We may have been a little lax at times, but you always learn from your mistakes. So I think going forward, we'll be lucky. Okay, I really, like I said, I thought there was something else that I wanted to bring up, but we didn't. Now, I know there isn't anything about the approval of but I can bring that up under old business probably, right? The approval of the girl that we looked at last time, and then we asked for more information from her.
I think it was Wendy Biggs and it was her letter of interest.
Yes, I know that. It's done. I've sent it to everybody. I just want to say, I'll wait till old business then to bring that up?
I think I have it under nominating, I think.
No, I didn't see that here. I didn't see nominating on here at all because I looked earlier.
Under committee reports.
Oh, yes, there it is. I'm sorry. Yes, you do. I'm looking right at it. Okay, that's good then. We'll talk about that when the time comes, and I don't have anything else. Okay, for the good of the organization. Plattsburgh Public Library report, I know he sent that out.
Here I am. Yes, I just sent it this morning, so hot off the presses. And actually today, the first thing I'll mention, Sarah Spanberg, our assistant library director, did a training session on collection development. And so I wanted to give Sarah a shout out for doing that for our member libraries and for CDF staff, whoever was interested in attending. And one second, I'm just going to pull up my report on my phone here. We're working on a couple of grants, one that we submitted, one that we're going to submit shortly, but kind of the theme running through them is technology upgrades mostly for accessibility purposes, and looking at providing things and being able to help folks access materials in different formats. So that covers a few different kind of small initiatives we're working on. And outreach, Jenny, our children's librarian, has attended 2 events, one with me and one solo. The Baby and Me Expo at the Champlain Center Mall on April 30th, and then the Safe and Sound event at the SUNY Plattsburgh Fieldhouse. Great turnout at those events. I won't read every bullet point on here, but I did want to give a shout out to to Anya also, don't want to forget that. Francesca Locarini, our social work intern, has finished her year at the library. We had a really successful experience with Francesca. We had hoped she would be able to get out and visit some of the other libraries a little bit more, and for Anya and me and the social work intern to be able to talk about that a little bit more, so that if other libraries are looking to do something similar in the future or share, if we have an intern that, we can kind of share them with the other libraries, have them go out and do their work there. But obviously I wanted to thank Anya for all of her efforts on that. We initially started with trying to get some grant funds to hopefully do something more long-term, and then we sort of shifted and we're just kind of generally working together on this concept, and we had a nice meeting with Tim, who's not here, but where is he? Over there? There he is, and talked about our year with Francesca. So we wish her the best, and a couple of programs coming up. One in particular, a plant propagation workshop with master gardeners, for those of you who are into that. It is when? June something.
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday in June. June 18th.
There we go.
At 5:30. You can bring a plant to propagate if you want. So that's great. So otherwise, importantly, I guess I'll jump into the SEFTA report if that's okay, since I'm kind of a doodle, or is that the next thing on the agenda?
That's the next thing anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been putting
Yes.
it on my director's report since I figure we'll just streamline a little bit.
Right.
I did meet with Connie last Thursday, the 14th, to discuss SEFTA, and Connie is our liaison between the CEF board and SEFTA, and we had a really great chat, and talked about some of the priorities that SEFTA has identified that I listed last month in the report. I put them here again just as a follow-up that folks are requesting from CEFLS. Anything on in the way of assistance for the web content accessibility guidelines, website assistance in general, Ingram training, policy updates, library fine structures, and CEFLS updates on a regular basis, which I do think, no, I take that back. I was going to say add one other, but I think that was at a different meeting. And I know that's just a list of all the things from last time, so I just wanted to put them on there for your reference, so that that's kind of what they've identified as things they're needing assistance with currently, and I haven't had any other new topics come up, so that is what we haven't met, so that's all I have. That's it.
Okay, any questions for Ben?
Ben, your MSW intern,
Yeah.
can you characterize, how busy she was, or how unbusy she was, how fulfilled she was,
Good
how
question.
much the community liked her, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so one of the main challenge, and I think this would happen pretty much with any intern situation, Francesca already had a full-time job and was essentially coming to see us in the evenings, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Saturdays as well, all day. So we weren't sure what we would get in terms of traffic. Some evenings, usually evenings are fairly quiet at the library, but one of the things that we had kind of had in mind at the beginning was, especially going through the winter season, we get a lot of folks that come to the library at the last minute and need transportation or need access to some service that we can help them with a phone call or a phone number or that type of thing, but then handing it off to somebody who can actually make the connection. So I would say she was about as busy as I anticipated she would be, just being there in the evenings. But one of the unexpected, Saturdays I think a little bit more so, one of the things I would say is that the unexpected but really helpful benefit, or maybe not entirely unexpected, but she was great for our staff. She provided a lot of support to our staff, just in terms of encouraging them to practice self-care and making suggestions about resources and how to access those resources. So it was really great because it didn't cost us anything but space and a little bit of time, and we were fortunate enough to have a vacant office space that she could use if she needed to have private conversations.
It wasn't zero.
So, and yeah, it wasn't like she didn't help anybody, she definitely, she helped with a variety of things from, again, like access to transportation, to food, to, somebody coming, we sort of saw her as an extension of our reference services, where it was like, okay, this is going outside of like typical reference, it's somebody that needs a little more intensive attention.
Someone to sit with them while they went through something.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, we have staff who can get you started, but we don't have someone who can stay with you to get you through to the next, to get you through till you're ready to leave the building and go on to the next step. And she became a bridge for that, where it's like, okay, yeah, I know who to talk to, I knew who to point you to. Here's Francesca, and at night in particular can be the most difficult time, so.
Yeah, getting people on the phone usually to make those connections, and
Yeah.
there's limited opportunities. So would I do it again? Absolutely. We learned a lot. I think, obviously the ideal situation would be get them there when the need is the greatest, which is really hard to predict, but you kind of do it on an ongoing basis. So, but overall, I was happy with how it went. So,
Cool.
yeah, thanks for asking.
Okay, anything else for Ben? Then we will go on to director's report.
I have a very short report. I did make some copies today because it didn't make the packet. There's really just two items on it. One is an update of our annual reports. Right now, we've got 23 that are waiting for our review, but they've essentially finished them, which leaves us 7. We're going to continue to push those 7 and get them done as quick as we can. Last month we had 13, so we had an improvement of 10 in the last 3 weeks. The other item is the van. We have a van that is dead, sort of, making its last gasps, at least. And we've discussed that in here. Our initial estimate was that it was going to cost us about $60,000 to purchase a new van. We went out and negotiated at Huddock Dodge, and they applied a contract fleet price, and it came out to about $46,000. So we've I think that's a really good price. We dropped it $14,000 from our original estimate. There are a couple of things that need to be done to it once we have it. We need to put our lettering on it and things like that, which has a small cost associated with it. And it looks like we'll need to finance about $20,000.
You can sell it.
Now, do we want to do this now then on the approval? I can't remember where we were on, okay, that,
Either now or during unfinished business.
okay, because we did discuss it last meeting, so it would be unfinished, okay. That makes sense. So we do have, they do have proposals of how the best way to do this is. So we will discuss that during unfinished business. Okay. And that's it, Steve? Does anyone have any questions for Steve?
Steve, Huddock didn't have the better interest rate?
No, it was a little bit higher.
Really?
And the bank is the same way. Banks were charging, what, 6.9 to
I think that's what you said on the finance meeting.
Yeah.
6.75, you said at one point, but I don't know. That's what you had said during our finance meeting. Was
Right.
Sorry.
was that our line of credit?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So
Okay,
that's unsecured.
That's what?
Unsecured.
Unsecured.
Cool. Lowest interest rate, unsecured. Good.
so, okay, so, I mean, thank you for doing all that work to find us the best deal we can and everything, and, you know, that, it sounds good. And I think you said something about if we approve it, how long would it be? I can't remember, did I put that down?
Oh, yeah, he said by the end of the month we would have it.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember what we said. Okay, okay.
One.
We were talking pretty fast even for me, so my note-taking at the finance meeting was a little bit.
One quick question for Steve. It's not like a garden variety van, right? I mean, it's all beefed up or it got extra springs or whatever.
Yeah, it's I don't remember, it's a 3/4 or 1 ton capacity.
Basically the same thing we had, right, Steve?
Basically the same thing we have,
Which we've had for,
8 years.
yeah.
And what's the mileage on it?
It's almost 300,000, is that
That's what I
right?
was gonna say, so I guess we can't expect an awful lot more out of it. It's
Yeah.
sort that's a lot of mileage. And it's not always the best, you know, roads that where it's going. So, any other questions for Steve then?
Is that van going to be traded in or are you gonna sell
Not
it
traded
outright?
in, we'll have to sell it.
Sell it outright?
Yeah.
What do you think you'll get for it?
$5.
We're
paying somebody
The wheels, now come on, the tires might be worth something. So, okay,
Michael looked up the blue book on it, and it would be about 8,000, but it's got
Really?
$4,000 of work that needs to be done on it.
okay.
So if we get 3,000 or 4,000 out of it, we'll be lucky.
Well, it reduces the size of your loan, doesn't it?
Now,
Yeah.
the other
Money can be-
advantage to using the line of credit is there's no prepayment penalty. We can pay out the principal at any time.
I'm pretty sure New York State, you're not allowed to have a prepayment penalty. I could be wrong, but anyway, carry on, sorry.
Okay, is there anything else? I don't have a video of you right now, but that's okay. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Yep, you're coming back. Okay. If there are no more questions for Steve, then I will go on to financial reports. Can I have a motion to bring forward the financial reports? Okay, a second.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, Michael? You're up.
Okay, I was able to get a budget to date for the months of January, February, March, and April. Where we spent about 24,000 less than average for the 4 months. The reason being is we held off a lot of the purchases of not books, but just materials until our budget was figured out and ready to be proposed. So we will be, you know, we spent what we had to, you know, like for electricity and all that stuff, but, you know, we were waiting to see how the budget was gonna pan out. So that's basic. Any questions? That's,
Well, one quick question. You're at like 78% on vehicle maintenance. I guess that will,
we're gonna have to
because
adjust.
your van is not gonna cause you any
Yeah,
more
we're gonna have
problems.
to adjust it because we've already had to put some money into it this year. We had to, or we wouldn't have been able to drive it.
But going forward,
Right.
Going
it should be,
forward.
you know, almost nothing.
Should be nothing, yeah.
So, any other questions for Michael? Okay, then can we can I have a vote? All in favor? Financial report?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, committee reports. Okay, we just want to make sure now, has Ann Paulson's, not Ann Paulson, has, okay, so I just got him here, just a minute, I just got to find it. So Amy Myers is her status, has it been sent to the legislators?
Yeah, as of May 13th, I've got an email from Erin, who works there, and she said that they were reviewing it.
Okay.
It was the 18th, so it should be any day, and then Ann, no updates as of yet.
Okay, so, but they've both been set to the legislature.
Yes, oh yes.
Okay, so then you asked me after the last meeting to ask for more information from Wendy Biggs, and I received it the afternoon. She said I'll do it tonight or tomorrow morning, and she did it that afternoon, and I sent it on to all of you. I was rather impressed. She told us more than I thought we did. I don't have what she said in front of me, but I sent it on to all of you. Without, does anyone have anything they want to bring to this, or can we just put forth their name to be submitted to the legislature? Well, can I have a motion to do so?
Also move.
Okay, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? I was really quite impressed. I mean, she answered, I can't remember my exact words to her, but it was pretty much what you'd asked me to ask her. So, and then she gave a pretty good one. So, I think that, it answered our questions as to why she was interested and, because that was part of it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Then good. So we now have, one Essex open. I mean, once this, and two, I'm going to talk to the directors up here and when I got here late, I got here and the parking lot's closed. So I had to go around the block and park in front and thank God I'd given myself enough time to get in here. So, but I want to make sure they have the flyer, and I promise you I will work on the Franklin County and get those two. So we'll get full. And if anyone has anyone over this way, I know you're all from that way that you think might be interested, please let me know. And I'm putting it on my Facebook also, and my mind is going on thinking about who to get. And if I have any other ideas of anyone. Okay.
Gayla?
Yes,
So-
Linda.
So you have one for Essex open, one for Franklin County open.
Two for
and
Franklin.
Two for Franklin.
Yes. Bridget's and Hope's.
How many openings for Clinton?
Clinton will be full with Wendy, because Wendy was Clinton and Amy was Clinton, and Ann Paulson is Essex. So that leaves one open for Essex and then two for Franklin. And the Franklin,
Or
pardon?
is Ann the candidate for that one opening for Essex, or is there one more in addition to her?
There's one more in addition to her.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, I got my list here and then I was trying to remember. Okay. So, Finance Committee 2026 proposed budget review approve. I don't know. I think that we decided that we would have a report on our Finance Committee. And Sarah, I think that was you.
Yes. So we looked at the budget. Fortunately, we've done well the last couple of years because we need to use the reserve to be able to break even from where we are this year. Plus the van is the biggest kind of expense. We need to be starting to look at next year's budget now, which the Finance Committee will meet again to discuss, and prioritize sustainability, because if we need to use that reserve this year, we're going to be in deep trouble next year because there won't be a reserve. And when we meet again, we are asking for data around per person dollar amount and programs that are most used, because we might need to be talking about some hard decisions.
Okay. And so we are going, Michael, could you present it's the same budget that he presented last month, which we have to approve, but we have to approve also using the reserve, right?
That's correct. we put in to make the budget, balance, we had to put in $77,719.56 to balance the budget. There are some reserves that we did not touch, like the, reserve for the van, and there's a reserve for the roof because we have to, use those funds as our 50% of the, roof project, and there's still money we have to spend before, the end of the run of the, thing. And also, we did save some, compensated, absences. What we did is we looked at, the next 3 or 4 years, what we're gonna need for compensated absences, and we kept that money, when we took that money out, and we put the other money in. Yeah, starting out, there was like 170,000 in our reserve, and we're using the 77, and like I said, we're using some money for the van and holding some for the compensated absences. So yes, a lot of work needs to be done for the 2027 budget.
And I think we decided that we would we will have a meeting in July, the finance committee, right? Isn't that what we decided? To
Yes.
start on the 2027 by starting the priorities, like Sarah said, and maybe having to make some tough decisions. Okay, okay, so can I have a motion to approve, to put forth and approve the 2026 budget? No motion?
Move, but I probably shouldn't be making the motion.
You're still on until she comes in.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't replaced you yet, darling. She hasn't been approved or sworn in, so you're still here, Lonnie. Okay, so Lonnie's making the motion, a second.
Approve the budget.
I can second.
Okay, Sarah seconds. Any more discussion? Questions?
Can I ask a question? I don't know if it's appropriate for me to ask a question.
Yes.
Is that okay? There's a couple of lines here that I'm noticing are a significant decrease from the current year, and they're things that I would think are going to cost the same or more, and it's not.
Where those, and I'll tell you why.
Fuel for the van, vehicle insurance, and I'm also seeing that the video budget is being cut 63%.
Okay, the video, we'll start with the video. The money was moved from the video to cover Comics Plus, a year's subscription of Comics Plus. Comics Plus is not a video, so we had to move the revenue, we had to move the expenditure to another area.
Okay. And then book processing fees, I see the actual for 2025 was $1,555 and was reduced 98% to $25.
And the reason is we're leasing books from Brodart, McNaughton. So we got away from Baker and Taylor since they're no longer. If we do buy from Ingram, there will be a small amount, and if we have to, we will move the budget. What other ones?
I guess if the fuel for the van, it makes me wonder, does that mean we're not using the van as much or planning to going forward, because it's 13,
how much did it go down?
13% from 8,500
fuel?
to 73.
Vehicle fuel.
Vehicle fuel, and then insurance
Well,
too.
he's looking for that.
The insurance was because last year, the insurance company said we were gonna get a big increase, and that's what I put in the budget. And now, yes, from what we're paying now, it will increase, no, it won't. Yes, it will increase a little bit because they base our insurance on the van price. So it may increase a little bit.
But I think he was saying too, when he budgeted this year, he looked at the 2025 number
Right.
instead, because his prediction was wrong for 2025, like higher than it should have been.
Or for the insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I'm less,
See, vehicle fuel, I did
it's the
more.
fuel, I think.
more- I looked at actual and just increased a little bit. So, you know, the
But
last
it's
couple of
less
years.
though.
Huh?
It's less though.
Right, but he
Yeah.
budgeted for higher, and then he looked at actual of what was actually
Right,
used.
in past years, I've,
But if you had to factor in the current price increases,
Yeah.
Michael, where would you be?
Because it's telling, this says actual 2025 budget $8,500. Doesn't that mean you spent $8,500?
but that was before we knew what our revenue from the state was. We never did a revised budget.
Okay, so that was what you
So it's-
originally budgeted for 2025 period, not the actual
Right.
spend.
It's not the actuals then, it's the
Right.
original budget.
Okay,
Well, it's just confusing
The
because it counts as
2026 is
actual.
more
yeah.
Okay.
closer
okay, I
to
see.
actual.
Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now how come I always lose my agenda? So if are there any more questions? Can I have okay, all in favor of the 2026 budget as is?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
I have a quick question. Will that incorporate the use of the reserve funds, or do we need a separate motion to use the reserve funds as well? Or is that assumed because we're approving the budget?
Well, I thought of that when we started doing this. Then now I'm not sure. What do the rest of you think? It was
Well, if
your
you're
budget using those reserve funds, Michael?
What's that?
The budget you presented to us, was that using the reserve funds?
This
Yes.
one is today, yes, but the one that we had in the meeting was not, because I didn't know if.
Right, but we just approved the one that you just presented to us,
Right.
which
And
includes
that had
the,
reserves included.
Okay,
with the reserves included. So no, because the one he presented to us had the reserves in it.
okay.
If you were saying something.
What about a capital item like the van? That's just gonna be a separate vote?
Yes, we're going to get to that under unfinished business,
Okay.
okay? You're right, this doesn't include the purchase of the van. Okay. Okay, committee reports, so then we're unfinished business. Now we'll go to the van. Okay? And, I did think of something else there too, but, okay, the van, could I have, how do you want us to do this? To approve the purchase of the van as you have presented to us?
Yes, and then we need to approve to go into debt for it.
Okay,
The
So-
money.
Two separate things.
okay, okay, can I have don't we have three motions? The motion to purchase the van, the motion to use the funds, and a motion to do the added,
Line of credit?
no, the line of credit will be the second one, but the third one, don't we have to approve you putting, the extra money to have it wrapped and whatever?
That's included in the numbers I gave you.
Okay, so that would be in the first motion then.
Right.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve I just said it too. To approve the purchase of the van as Steve presented the cost, including the wrapping, and to get it to where we need it to be. Anybody want to make that motion?
I so move.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, could I have a motion to use our line of credit for the purchase of the van?
Yes, for up to $20,000. I think you need to put a dollar amount on
Oh,
it.
yes, you do. Was it 26 though, or just 20? You said we'd have to.
26 is what's coming from our reserve funds. 20,000 is what we're going to borrow.
Okay. So then, could we have a motion to use funds to purchase the van up to 20,000?
Line of credit.
From our line of credit. Thank you, Kip. Okay. A motion?
Yeah, I move that we
Okay, thank you, Kip. Second?
approve the use of the line of credit up 20,000 for our van.
Second.
Okay, a second, Lonnie. Okay, any more questions?
I have a, something, yeah, no, I don't have a question. What we would like to do with the line of credit is we're gonna have to pay on a monthly basis, we're gonna have to pay the interest on the 20,000. I ask that we only pay the interest on the 20,000 if we get, let's say, a grant or a donation, we can pay it down. But when I would like to pay it is after we receive our New York State funding, because we might have to use some of our line of credit to keep going. Because again, as we know, the budget has not been approved. And even if the budget was approved, it would still be 2 or 3 months for, what is it, finance management down in Albany to push the money out. So, you know, whenever they decide to, you know, approve the budget, and then it's 2 or 3 months. So we're looking in fall right now for needing money from the line of credit. And our money is getting low now. So that's why I'm asking that we only pay the interest until our state funding comes in.
Okay, now is this gonna complicate this motion then?
I
Saying, is the motion okay the way it was written then?
believe so. I think
You're
it's,
just clarifying how you're,
He's just talking,
It's
he's
more of a
just talking the
procedure.
operations, you know?
Right.
okay, that's what I thought, Kip. I just want to make sure that,
We don't care about that.
that's what I thought too. I just want to make sure that everyone feels the same way. Okay, any other discussion or comments? Then all in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion carries. Okay, the other unfinished business I had, and I remember we brought up last meeting, again, I can't, and I'm trying to look through the minutes and I'm not sure I found it. On Steve doing his,
We vote on that last
No.
motion?
did we,
yeah, I did. Oh, we didn't vote? I just said I said all in favor, and I thought I did, okay. All in favor?
no, that's for the line of credit. What about the reserve? Wasn't that also
To use the 26,000.
you were just saying a resolution, there was 3 resolutions.
Right, but I thought that we didn't need the third one anymore because it was included in the first one.
I thought when I made the motion to approve the budget, that included using the reserve.
I think you're right.
But I,
Yeah, because I asked Steve, and Steve said that that's the way he presented was with using the reserve.
Yeah, but that was already
Not
in your
for the
budget,
van.
and your budget was just approved. Isn't that right,
Right.
Steve?
That's how I would interpret it.
Just mine, and I apologize if I should probably just not, but we're using reserve, one part for the budget and one part for the van.
Just saying, we haven't done the van part yet, we did the budget part yet, so do we need to vote on the van reserve part? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so, because I think the auditors would ask, you know.
Okay, I thought, I was confused because I thought that when I asked, because I had 3 in my head too, but then I thought that Steve had said that was included in his proposal, the monies for the proposal for buying the van. But, so, we need a third one, that to use the reserves for the purchase of the van. Okay,
Yeah, I'll also move.
Okay.
It's the difference between, you know, operating reserves, which are in our budget, and capital reserves, which
okay,
we have to separately.
vote on them separately.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay, sounds good to me. So which reserves is this one, capital or?
It's capital, it's the
Okay,
van.
okay, so, motion to use the capital reserve for the van, for the purchase of the van. Kip made the
Yeah,
motion.
I made the motion.
Okay, second,
I'll second.
Sarah. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, motion carries. Okay. The other thing that I was not on here, but I wanted to bring up for unfinished business. I know we mentioned something about your review last month, Steve. Did we set a date by a certain time to have you have it done?
I have it done.
Okay,
I can pass it out here. I emailed you a copy.
oh, okay. So shall we just, and then we have it, can we put it on next month's agenda to review? Or do you want to do it tonight? I haven't had a chance to look it over.
I think it should be done after you've had time to
Yeah,
read
right,
it.
that's what I'm saying. Has anyone else had a great deal of time to look it over?
No, because I've still got them right here.
Oh, well, then obviously not then. Could you please pass those out, Steve, and then it'll be on next month's agenda.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll try to make sure I get there next meeting. This just kind of, my son-in-law's, and my daughter's husband has just now started working in Buffalo to become a lieutenant at the prison, and this just all happened, so things are going in all different directions for us. So she's kind of alone with 3 kids.
I have one other piece of unfinished business.
Okay,
You had asked last time to have an explanation of the prison.
yes, we did.
And Aunt Anya is here, and together we're going to try to explain it to you and answer any questions that you have.
Perfect.
I also printed out the latest agreement with the correctional facilities. I don't know if that would be helpful for people to look at, just to get a sense of,
Yeah,
of what's entailed, what's covered. Could you pass it around? Thank you. But you don't have it, Gayla. I apologize for that. So,
well, this just came up today for me having to not be there either, but I said that. You want to fire me yet? Please?
So what happens is the state gives us money to provide library services to the correctional institutions within our system. And then we take that and pay for certain services. We include them in our deliveries. We used to buy books for them, but we don't do that anymore.
actually, we do.
Do we do?
In the end, that gets back to you.
Okay. And there's other various expenditures. Right now, with the contract we signed last year, we reduced the amount of salaries and benefits that were charged against this account. I think we went to 2/3 this last time. Is that right, Anya?
Yeah, if you look in the first page of the agreement, you can see the third paragraph. The current proposal that you're looking at allocates 67% of the total budget to CFLS personnel costs. And we don't normally talk about future years during the negotiations, but because of all of the discussion that happened as part of that this year, one of the things when I spoke with DLD, they recommended was that we actually, in this agreement, talk about what our plans are to get it down to where correctional facilities would be happier with the amount. So you'll see in there what the planned reduction of personnel costs for CEF through 2028. So that means next year we reduce to 63%, in 2027, 57%, down to the target goal of 50% in 2028.
The contract just generally lays out what what we do for them. And the first few pages are kind of an explanation of how we come up with those things and what we are trying to accomplish. Then the last 2 pages, 3 pages are the actual contract that we put forward, and this was last year's, right?
This is the most recent approved, yes, that we, in December, everyone agreed upon. It was kind of extended longer than normal.
Right, because you kind of started like September, October, right? But then it didn't get finalized till December.
Actually, we usually do it in the spring, right around this
Okay.
time of year, we meet, but because we couldn't come to agreement, it just kind of extended on. And you are correct that we did meet then in the fall, and then finally, I think it was about December timeframe that we had a final contract that everyone was in agreement with and could sign.
Any questions? I thank you for doing this because this is, when this all came to a, to a head, I don't want to really say head, but when we started discussing this personally, I'm not going to talk for anyone else. I felt completely in the dark because I really knew nothing about these contracts. I mean, yes, they were in there. I'm sure that they were in there, but it's just something that I'd never seen or whatever. And I appreciate your, making us aware. If we're going to make decisions on something or have something come to us, I think it's important for us to understand what it is that, that people are upset about or not, or shouldn't be upset about or whatever, I mean, it's hard to really do that, but thank you so much for the work you've done.
And I will say, and I know I mentioned this briefly during another meeting, but when I first started, the only facility that was actually receiving funds directly to buy their own materials was Mariah Shock. And the reason for that was the fact that they weren't receiving ILL services. I have had multiple conversations, and just most recently, our DLD liaison, Erica Fortingberger, said that per the state librarian, these funds are meant to provide the services. So that means that we haven't been doing anything wrong.
No.
I still feel strongly that it's great for them to have some of the funds to purchase directly and have those materials at the facilities, but we've done nothing wrong. The different systems, the negotiations can run differently, there's just, it's not done the same way across the board, so then I'm sure when you hear, something different happening someplace else, it raises ideas and conversations, and that's all good, because we can all, progress and change. This contract has changed over time since the time that I've been there, as the service, on their part was deemed not as necessary important, we've deleted it and added something different. That's, I don't know, I'm happy to answer any questions, or, Steve, depending on which one of us, which part of it. If you have specific questions that can clarify things, I'd be happy to.
So is 95,800, is that the total amount that actually comes from the state that should go to the corrections facilities? All of them?
So it shouldn't go to them, but it should
I mean,
be part of
yeah,
the agreement for services to them.
it's sent to you,
Right,
sent to
that's the
CEF
entire amount, right,
to use for the correctional facilities service.
that's right,
And that is the total that actually comes from the state.
it does.
Okay.
And another interesting component about that is, since you bring up the dollar amount, one thing that's really kind of tricky sometimes is that at the time that we're negotiating, typically in the spring, we do not know our dollar amount, our final dollar amount. So what we do is, we always go based on last year's number and say, this is what we're gonna plan it on, but if there are changes, we need to make adjustments. And the funding is provided based on number of beds, number of incarcerated individuals. So the minute we have a facility closure, that can impact a number, and we just had one, but we won't see that until next year. If they have an increase in incarcerated individuals, that will impact. So that number does change, and we that was what it was last year. Yeah, that ended up being the final amount. Yes,
And that may not change too much because most of those incarcerated went to a lot of the local facilities, so it may not be, you know, a lot of the Bear Hill went to Franklin and, you know, and some of the other ones in the area. But I agree with what you're saying, Anya, is that I think that's what happens, and we know it happens in the world. If every contract with each different one is a little bit different, then sometimes it's hard to compare apples to, you know, is it comparing apples to oranges? And you can't necessarily, this is a lot of my opinion, I'm sorry, but you can't necessarily take those bigger facilities and say that the smaller ones are going to function the same way. Is that kind of accurate?
That is exactly my thought on it, to be honest with you, Gayla. I have gone through this through my head so many different times, and I've looked at it, and you have, we have, the last time I checked, I think we have the highest, or almost the highest number of correctional facilities in our service area versus the other systems. So the volume of what we do for our correctional facilities can be considered higher as a result of that. And I think that some of the systems, they're in the more populated areas, their financial situation is so different than ours, completely different. That means they have a bigger staff. So, you know, when you're trying to absorb that work and you're coming from a situation where you have a much larger staff, you know, maybe it's easier to say we don't need as much for our staff time or, you know, that kind of thing. But and this is just me kind of working through it in my mind on, you know, on
So
what you just said.
is it fair to say, you're the smallest system, next to the
Yes.
smallest system?
Yes.
And you have the most facilities, that doesn't mean you may have the most incarcerated, but
correct,
you
that's
have the
correct.
most facilities.
Right.
Meaning that when your van goes around, it's gotta go more places.
Yeah, right.
It's a pretty complex equation.
Yes, it is. I
It doesn't
agree.
work year to year because Mariah Shock was open, you know, prior, and now it's not open.
And it can change pretty rapidly too. I mean, you know, they never know sometimes when things are going to change as far as closures, etc. Any more questions? Anything else?
Is there a large discrepancy, or how large is the discrepancy between facilities? Because I'm looking at, it's $70 per facility. So if you have a large facility and then a small facility, they're getting the same amount of money to order books?
That's a fantastic question. So I think it was during maybe the 2020 negotiation or somewhere around there. Let me back up. So like I said, when I first started, the only facility actually getting money for direct purchases was Mariah Shock, and it was like $500, and that was simply because they did not receive any ILL. But then over time, I was like, oh, well, why should the other facilities? So we did it this way, we split it up. I really didn't think about that at the time, but all the librarians, the senior librarians agreed to it, signed off on it, and all of a sudden we got to a negotiation around 2020, and one of the DSPs at one of the larger facilities said exactly the same thing. And I said, well, that's up to you guys. Like, I'll write this however you want. If you want to split it based on population, we can do that. Just no one has ever brought that up before. And interestingly enough, the larger facilities said, you know, I get a lot in my budget, and they kind of felt for the smaller facilities, and they decided to leave it the same. Could that change at some point in the future? If, you know, there's changes in funding, it could. You know, maybe they decide at a future point that, no, I want a larger percentage because I have more individuals that I'm trying to serve. That could happen, but that's the only time that it came up, and
it's actually just $70.
So the $70, that's a whole different story, because I think you're talking about due north access. So access to a system is going to be the same, you know, for everybody. So that's not going to change. I was looking more at, when I'm talking about that, it's more goes to the discretionary funds.
Okay.
And that would be the part for your training programs, print materials, supplies, right above that
Yep.
section.
Yep.
The fact that it's $4,800 per facility, that's where it starts to, make some impact. But the NILN membership, your membership's gonna be the same no matter the size, and
yep.
then your due north access,
Yep.
same thing, that'll be the same. But it's those that bigger number, the 4,800 per facility, that I could see someone saying, you know, I serve more people, I really should have a bigger part of that pie. But as of right now, you know, everybody's good with how it's distributed. And I don't feel like I'm not going to have a say over that. I feel like that's, you know, whatever you guys all want. I don't know if we vote, but because it come up that one time but everyone agreed, so.
Okay, and I'm still confused on the third paragraph on the first page. It says the current proposal allocates 67% of the budget. I understand you're reducing, but I'm not, see, is it the librarians within, is it the librarians within the public libraries? Or is it the librarians within
Here at CEF, it's librarians here at CEF, so there are a lot of, there's personnel time invested in providing these services, including the van delivery, including, you know, we've also in the past done rotating collections, but they've decided not to have that, so there are different, you know, staff efforts that are being put toward that. So it's coordinating all these services, and basically that gets paid to, that offsets the staff salaries and benefits at CEF.
Right. Thank you.
Anything else? Anyone else?
I have one question. And this is more on staff time and how it's allocated, and what the one thing that it says is that materials purchased for the facilities can also be put in the loan program for other facilities, and it sounds like to other CFLS libraries, and that's what my concern was, is that the facilities, obviously, by what we were told, have a very restricted list of books that they are allowed to use. Are all the facilities lists restricted in the same way? You don't have to cope with different restrictions for different facilities, do you?
I'd say generally speaking, it's probably consistent across the facilities, but I will say that I have seen many situations where various policies aren't the same across the board, because you would kind of expect it. You'd think, oh, they're all state correctional facilities. But then when we're doing different things, like we did a holiday card making project with the facilities one year, and it was actually inspired by one of our facilities that had done it previously. So I said, hey, do you all want to? We can help get these out in the community. It was for seniors, blah, blah, blah. Well, everyone was on board, and then the other facilities couldn't. So I'm just giving that as an example that depending on the administration, depending on the guard that maybe is, you know, standing there right at the time that, you know, materials are coming in, there could be some variation because things aren't 100% identical across the board as you might expect. But generally speaking, as far as content that's allowed in the facilities, I think my sense is that it's fairly consistent. I mean, I know when we've had visits, they're like, okay, we don't want any books about prison escapes. Well, that makes sense, you know, things like that. And so that kind of thing I think you see across. But I kind of wanted to go back and ask you, where were you seeing, because
That wasn't in the details of the budget. That was under responsibilities for participating facilities. All library materials purchased under this program by CEFLS will be available for loan to other correctional facility libraries and to any CEFLS member library in accordance with the 2025 budget recap. Now, it just seemed to me that obviously since the correctional facilities can't have a very limited set of materials that they're allowed to use, that any materials purchased for their use primarily, they should have all priority over anybody else who wanted to read them, and I assume that would be the case, and maybe there could be reasons why things would be suitable for all libraries that might be chosen, but still that they're disadvantaged in not getting normal materials or everybody else's material. Lots of materials would give them a little bit of a first choice in getting everything else.
So part of what went on for a while, they participated in the LEASE program and the McNaughton program, and those materials would reside here at CEF, but they would do the selection. So therefore, It would
Oh,
meet the
okay.
requirements because they were involved in choosing which titles they were. And then the beauty of that was that they could all share them. So rather than getting some books and it being limited to one facility, because really at this point, they don't have a system to share among each other, let alone with us.
Oh,
But by having these lease books and they were here, it sometimes, they purchase them, but perhaps their individuals didn't request them. So they were just sitting on the shelves. But we had other people within the system that would maybe be interested. So it was a way of, they even had, I had actually found in there, and I didn't find it last year, so I removed it from here. But at one point, they talked about the importance of the reciprocity. Libraries are all about sharing, right? And we all exchange. And they actually, and this was a docs document or guidance, not a public library system, DLD guidance. And they actually had said that reciprocity. So basically, these McNaughton lease titles, if they weren't being requested by an incarcerated individual, by sharing it with our member libraries, that was helping with that reciprocity and kind of like, we're getting all these materials that we're borrowing, from your libraries and your patrons. And if they're available and we purchase them with our funds, but our folks aren't using them right now, your members can borrow them. So that was kind of a nice, exchange, if you will. But in one of the more recent negotiations, they decided to no longer participate in that, and that's their choice. That's absolutely their choice. And we have ended it, and they wanted the funds instead for their discretionary funds. So now they can still purchase materials with that money, but we're back to, at least for the time being, unless they get an ILS system, which I know they're working on, now it's only at that one facility. If Upstate buys materials, then only their incarcerated individuals will get them. If another facility, and see, we're so used to this whole shared system within our whole system, right? Because it just maximizes your bang for your buck not everyone has to have a copy of everything because we're all sharing. So when we had the McNaughton lease, it allowed all of their individuals to share as well. So that's kind of, I don't know if that answers your
It does,
question.
and thank you, but that it shows the inefficiency of the way it's being done without the sharing.
And like I said, it's,
Yeah.
it's up to them and that's fine. And if they feel that better meets their needs than what we have, then-
I agree with that. You can't make yourself into an incarceration facility. You can't think like an incarceration facility. You have to ask them.
Yeah, exactly, Kip. I mean, it'd be foolish. I mean, if somebody walked in there and tried to tell them how to do what they do, that's not, every institution has its own hierarchy, administrative, everything, things are all different places. Anything else?
Thank you, Anya, for coming in.
Thank you, Anya. I think we're making some really, really good moves on understanding some things that maybe we didn't understand before. I know Lonnie keeps saying, she says, I don't want to do anything to not have the quality of board members we have now. We want to always make sure we do, and we do have excellent board members, and it looks like good to come on like that. So, keeping on top of things is very important, and I think that we're making all the right moves in the right directions. Okay, thank you, Anya. Anybody else for that? Okay, we'll go on to new business bank resolution.
You have in front of you the corporate authorization resolution. We do this every year because we usually have new executive committee that they need to, if in fact we need them to sign checks or do anything with a bank, we need this resolution shown in our minutes, and also we have to send them a signed thing of the resolution and of the check signers. So that's.
Now, and this has to be in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Okay, could I have a motion to accept the resolution and approval of 2026 check signers?
I so move.
Thank you, Kathy. Second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Kip. Any more discussion? We know this is just a standard thing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Those of you who need to sign, and I'll get in next week, Kip, not Kip, excuse me, Michael, to sign mine because we're leaving tomorrow morning. And the rest of you, please stay and sign if you have to. Okay. I don't believe this meeting, does anyone have anything to discuss the performance of an individual? I believe we will need to next week after we look over Stephen's his review, his performance review. And we talked to him last time, Kip. I don't know if you weren't on. One thing that came up through Kip, through Stephen's and my discussion over the years was that we did not go over with him, sit with him to go over his review. So we're going to make sure we do that this time after we as a group will decide who is the personnel committee will decide, you know, who's going to do that and how that's going to go. Okay. So if there is none, does anyone have any reason that we need to go into executive session? Okay, if not, then I believe we are adjourned.
I don't know how appropriate, this is probably totally inappropriate, I'm so sorry. We do have an item for new business, our discussion with Steve Brown on Friday.
Oh, is that the one about the, okay, well, then oh, can I undo the adjournment? Okay. I'm undoing the adjournment. New business, then we're going back. Okay. The meeting is reconvened. Okay, and I thought of that. That's the one about somebody putting on the.
Yes, we had
Yeah, okay.
an offer of someone who would like to make a sizable donation for putting his logo on our van.
Which is what kind of business?
He owns a motel in Lake Placid.
The Devlin. And let me just say that he recently worked with Clinton Community College and gave them funding for naming a room. So, you know, there has been something done prior to this that, you know, along that line with him that he's been vetted through them, not to say, but just so that you have that understanding as
Some
well.
precedent for that, yeah.
Excuse me?
There's some precedent for doing that, yeah.
Exactly.
That, and I do, in our finance meeting, because I think Sarah, you'd brought it up and about, you know, we got to be careful, like say this company has a problem and then we've got their name on our van. But I think that you said, Michael, at one point that there were things put on the bookmobile.
And that we had to take them off as soon as possible.
So I think the
Okay,
contract,
no, but I'm saying, but I mean, this has been done before that people have given donations for advertisement though on vehicles.
Yes, and, you know, it is kind of new to us here on this board. I don't think it ought to be done without a policy.
Okay.
You know, if we're going to do it, we need to delineate some things, like,
Oh, I think that's a good idea. You can't just say, yeah, you can put it on here and then there are no rules or regulations for anything.
and what happens if we need to back out, what are the stipulations that allow us to back out
This
of?
feels like something that requires some legal counsel.
Yes. Steve, can we direct you to do that? Look into a policy that you,
start looking into policies.
who is? You are?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, yeah, you look into policies and maybe have Jackie, I'm sure that you'll have Jackie, you know, involved in this to discuss things. So could you try to do that by next meeting?
I will try.
When you
Okay.
say sizable donation, are we talking like we'll cover a large portion of the cost of the van, or like?
I was hoping for that, so I kind of, when he approached us,
That is like,
so
oh.
it was really convenient for him with Clinton because they have their tiered donations and everything's outlined. Well, we don't have anything like that set up. But I think that, so when I responded, I said, oh, your timing is ideal. I mean, I didn't commit to anything. I just said, because we have this gap, and I was kind of hoping maybe, and he said if he were, he would give us that if he could, but we are talking thousands of dollars, but not the difference, not the total gap. But it is, the way that he talked, he, like quarterly payments or something, he's willing to work with whatever our preference is if we decide to go forward, but that's very helpful to him if it can be set up that way. But I mean, when you think about what we're doing, and now if we get into a van payment situation, even having something like that to help offset some of the payments, it could be very, very useful. I will say that he seemed open to other ideas as well if this doesn't end up.
If you can see the tiers that Clinton Community has, do you know how much it costs to have a room named after you?
Yes, it was $5,000.
That
4
seems
years.
like a steal, sorry.
Oh my God.
Like,
I think it was a smaller room. If I remember correctly, it was not.
Is it a bathroom?
Break room or something, I don't know, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, lots of institutions do this, and they usually try to get things named after alumni or other things, but they have really, as far as I'm concerned, very strict donor policies as to whom they will accept money from, what they have to know about you, what you have to have done. That gives you some distinction in your career to name a building or a big thing after you. And it's got, because once you start opening that, then it can be opened to a lot of people. And I don't think it's a quick one meeting approval of a policy. Once you start allowing that, then you have to say whom you're not going to accept the money from to make it easy for you. Just somebody walking in from the world saying, I'd like to give this.
And I think that's where the policy really comes into play, and that's why I think researching it, if you all decide to go forward, that would be really critical. I will add another point in that Clinton Community also used to have a mobile classroom, did the same thing. They had the advertising and that helped fund that mobile classroom. And I had this conversation a long time ago with them because when we were talking about trying to have a bookmobile again, like an updated version of it, that kind of thing, that was something I was looking at, like, is that some way that we could have it be sustainable? So again, this isn't anything, it's been done, and I think I would be happy to, if you get answers that, it seems like it's positive, if you would like, I could get information from Clinton Community on what they considered and maybe what policy they had and what they did for the mobile classroom, which might be a better alignment than the rules.
The only difference in my mind with this is, I think we're kidding ourselves unless we don't accept the fact that we're in effect selling advertising, mobile advertising. Now, everybody's doing that, and that's worth something. And I don't know what the market is for it, but that's one thing I would say, look, we gotta find some way to, go out there in the market and look, make sure we're not being screwed by this guy. And secondly, we need to vet these people. We don't want names on there that are shysters, that are not providing a service that is valuable to the community. And those are the kind of guidelines. I think if you've got a group or maybe the finance committee, somebody who looks at it and says, we looked into this guy, Devlin's been there a long time. Matter of fact, that's why I'm here. And I'll tell you that story later, but it is a long-term business.
Well, I think then we direct Steve, get as much information as you can between now and then. I don't think it's anything we should jump on. I think we have to really make sure we're doing it the correct way. Does anyone disagree with that? And then so we.
Business too, like lots of business, you never know. And I think looking at how much does it cost to run like you're saying, a commercial, how much does it cost to have a billboard a month? And where are we in that lineup? Is it worse?
I think it's a good starting point, but I don't think we're ready by any means to acknowledge it. So Steve, get us some information. And then we'll discuss it again further. Please, Brenda, make sure it's on next month's agenda.
I have a question for Michael, or what I think you said. I thought you said at one point there were advertisements on the bookmobile, but then you had to take them off.
One had to come off, right?
There was a person's name.
Yeah,
that-
they're gonna kick me out of here. Yeah, I know, 6 o'clock, right? Okay,
Was that
There was
the
a
Chris
person, there was a
Ortwell?
person's name on the back of the bookmobile that gave a sizable amount. And that person fell out of favor, and our patrons were upset, and then we just removed it.
well, I think if we do it accurately, then, and the other thing, do it accurately so that we have all of the criteria down and whatever, then I think we should be okay. But again, there's got to be a procedure probably in the policy that explains, if there is a problem, how it's, the procedure to take someone off.
And I could see something temporary, like a banner, but to permanently put someone's logo on the van, I hesitate with that, but, that's just, that could be a 15-year van that has that on there forever, but I think if you do something like a banner, that could be taken off if there's issues, or maybe
Magnetic
that would
signs?
make the
Yeah.
donor happy.
A magnetic sign?
Yeah.
Pardon?
There's magnetic signs that
Yeah.
pop onto
Yeah.
cars.
Well, the other thing is, I think if we consult with our attorney, she may
Right.
say, you may need a clause in here that says, for any reason you decide to take that name off, that person, the person is already given the contribution, they can't get money back from us.
Right.
There's a lot to look into it. It's not something we can quickly say, yeah, we're gonna go for it. I mean, look at all that we brought up in just the last 5 minutes of the different avenues. I am going to be kicked out. I mean, I'm not trying to cut down the conversation, but I think that we'll continue this next meeting. Steve will bring us information. Please think more about it, and you can bring up anything that you think. I mean, it's certainly something that may be worth looking into, but maybe we'll find it's not going to be, it may not be worth it, but we can find out. What do you
Gail,
think?
I have a quick question, sorry about the agenda. Do you want the executive session, do you want that tabled for next month? Or are you going about a different way and we're not gonna
No, I
bother
still
with-
want you to put the executive, all I'm saying is put the executive session on, the
Okay.
same way we've done.
All right,
Okay, same way we've done the last few meetings.
Yeah. okay.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, everyone. The meeting is adjourned at
Travel safe. Safe travels.
5:29. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hi.